Live, hello and welcome to the preseason race for ARL's rookie series. I'm Kaito NASA, and I am joined in the booth by
Evan Karais. We're looking at a few people returning with a lot of newcomers this season. Looks like the top finisher from last season was Peppers in 5th place, who's returning this season.
And tonight we're going to be at Misano. Interesting to do a night race in the BMW M2s tonight. But you know, we're wanting to test out some stuff before any actual points racing has to take place. And what better way to pull off the stress test than with a night race at Misano, right?
Yeah, of course. We rarely do night races. The night races are always fun, always thrown in kind of exhibition preseason races or in the off season. So it's always fun to mix it up with the darkness of night.
Of course, the drivers at the moment have 13 minutes of qualifying to get through. So we're going to be having a good little bit of a warm up before the actual race starts. What are some key things you're looking for in tonight's both qualifying session and the race?
Well, that's very important with the size of some of our fields to find a nice gap in the on track to put your laps in. It's tricky with short qualifying. You really want to maximize every lap you're out there. So finding that space was, I think, a key thing here to get through the times.
Do you think some of the drivers are going to take it easy on the qualifying and then try to push it during the race? Do you think they'll try to get the most out of these BMWs as they can right off the rip, or do you want to? I would think they'd kind of want to warm up the tires a little bit, try to get some more grip in them before they start really pushing for their qualifying hot lap.
Yeah, I think so too. Really pressing on, just lightly tapping on the brake, getting your tires up to temperature so you can get that hot lap in, and finding that space, like I said before, is key, and you can use that time finding the space to get those tires to the right temperature.
Of course, ARL being a PS5 league, we do both ACC and GT7 racing. If you'd like to check us out, you can click on that Discord link in the description down below. But we are preparing for our preseason race once again at Misano. Qualifying currently underway, as looks like Turkey still doesn't have a valid lap right now. I'm trying to find who has some valid laps on the track right now.
Doesn't look like they have come around to get a valid lap in yet. Let's see.
I'm seeing a lot of invalid laps at the moment. Looks like Khan right now, their warm-up was a 2:16.7.
Okay. Looks like we just got Dingham, and here comes some of the times. Dingham with the fastest time so far at the 1:51.6. Got some 52, some 54s. I think they're gonna be able to get these times up. You know, they're just banking a lap in as they run lower on fuel. We saw some practice times about a second and a half faster than this, or a second faster than this. So should be interesting as we make our way around.
I just looked and I see Cecil with a 150.5. Of course, that lap being invalid, as you can tell in the best lap sector right there, not counting towards their qualifying session, so they're still preliminarily in 13th. We have a car off the track. I can't tell who that is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you that. But they'll make their way back on track, clean up their tires, get it going again.
Dingham looking to improve their last lap right now, 7/10 up from their pace. Looking to be one of the first drivers to break into the 150 time slots.
Yeah, I think if you want to be in the top 10 starting, you're gonna want to be in the 150s.
And there we have it, 150.9 from Dingham.
Yep, and Cecil right after him with the 150.59. So the times are dropping. You know, I have to say I'm gonna get my bias out in the beginning. I am teammates with Peppers on the grid fillers here in ARL, so definitely rooting for Peppers here. He's a very consistent, fast driver. He ran a lot of good races last season in the last rookie season, being the highest returning finisher in 5th place. So just want to get my bias out there. His livery is beautiful. The red, the yellow, the white, with the grid fillers. We're just here to have fun.
Driving that number 24. Currently sitting in 6th place right now, but already almost 3/4 tenths up from their last lap, looking to go into the low 152s now, maybe hitting the 151s. But of course stuck behind some traffic, so they've got to work around that.
Yeah, it's tricky. Qualifying and everyone on track at the same time in ACC, you really got to find a space, a few seconds, so you can maximize the momentum of these BMWs. These M2s really like when you keep it flowing and rolling. Stopping and starting is a little tougher for these cars, which makes it a fun race. Keeps it close. But keeping that momentum going is the key to pace in this car.
Now, do you think the tow in these cars has any effect on their lap times as well, or do you think that the tow isn't quite as, like with the GT3 cars? Do you think the tow is not quite as effective in these M2s as they would be in like a GT4 or GT3 car?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a little bit less than you would get if you really use the tow with the GT3s. So, but yeah, it's these cars they're fun to drive. Looks like Peppers was up on his time, but got caught in a little bit of traffic there, dropping his time down. We got Green in the 149s. That's the first 149 I've seen today in practice or qualifying. Green gave me a few good battles last season. He is the only returning race winner from last season. He's the only Australian. He's retired, living in Australia, and this is his Wednesday morning race over there in Australia. He's very, very good racer who had a lot of good, solid finishes last year. So looking forward to see what he can do this season. And Perot, another who has been racing with us for quite a bit now in the 149s.
I'm seeing a few names from the LRC as well, where I originate from. I'm seeing R. Nixon in there, currently sitting 14th with their qualifying time, and I see Dinosaur as well, currently sitting 15th with a 153.045, excuse me, as their current best qualifying session lap.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know that LRC, is it typically just the GT7 league? I know we had a fun GT7 event that I participated in. Do you guys hold any ACC races as well, or is it mainly GT7?
It's mainly GT7, though I believe this week they were testing the waters with some ACC. I don't know if that was earlier this week, if that's later this week, but I did remember seeing on the schedule in their events that there was going to be a fun little ACC race to test the waters in a new sim, so to say.
Hope that goes well. You guys seem like a great community. I had a really fun time at the event that we held together. That was a lot of fun. Let's see. Has anyone improved their times? With about 3:54 left to go in qualifying.
Currently riding with Dinosaur. He's at the moment doing better than his last qualifying lap. Right now, about 4/10 up from his best. We'll see if he's able to keep that pace up. Dingham dropped back to 5th in our qualifying order.
Oh wow, yep. Times are dropping. Let's see.
Well, you get the car staying out a little longer, you get more of those tires up to temp, and naturally the times are going to want to come down with more grip with the warmer tires, but you don't want to overheat those tires either.
Definitely, and if I know we don't have much time, but if someone needs to get into the pits and reset for whatever reason, they're going to want to change their fuel if they do so, because these guys are beating up their times with the lower fuel loads. Looks like Peppers jumped into 2nd place.
Speaking of going into the pits, Dinosaur going to head into the pits. Jumping on with Cecil now, doing better than their last qualifying lap, looking to be in the 149s as well currently with their pace. And as I say that, commentators curse as Cecil goes wide and invalidates their lap. They got one more chance to bring that down, but they were on pace to do it.
Yeah, well, good thing is we still got the 150 left on the clock, so he'll have time. As long as he starts his lap before the zeros, he can get another lap in. That goes for everybody here tonight. Looking at the time. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Perot hit a 149.8, it looks like.
Yeah. Oh, and Peppers jumps into the lead with a 149.48, yet he does not have any fastest sector times, which is interesting, which Green holds the 2nd and 3rd sector fastest time, and Turkey with 1st sector fastest time. But it seems like Peppers put it all together. We got a 149.48. We got Chorizo, Mr. Khan, in the 150.4. A proud member of White Chorizo Racing here in ARL.
Peppers looking to improve on their flying lap of 149.4. Currently about 3/10 faster than their previous lap. Looking to solidify their 1st place pole position.
Yeah, Ben Green. Oh, looks like Green's in the pits. He is only down 9/900ths of a second, but looks like he's not opting for another lap as time is expiring.
Of course, the time will hit 0, but if you have previously started your lap, you will still be able to finish it. You're not kicked right off the track, as is the case with some other sims.
Looks like Perot is gonna hold his 4th place, not gain any time. See if is there anyone on track finishing up their laps.
Peppers with a 149.232, currently solidifying their pole position for the race. Vergara in 17th, 153.2.
Warmwater, who had some fast times in practice, hoping to gain. He's currently up about 5/10 on his previous time. Currently in 9th place.
Able to keep from going wide there. Did lose a little bit of time, but still going to improve.
And yeah, gonna improve, but stays in that 9th place. So it looks like we got our grid set up for tonight's Tuesday night rookie race.
Peppers on the pole. Green going to be in 2nd place. Cecil in 3rd. Perot in 4th. Kahn starts off your 3rd row, followed by Stenzel. Turkey in 7th. Dingham in 8th. Warmwater in 9th. Lower in 10th. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that one. If you want to take over.
I'm not 100% sure either, but he goes by Sid Vicious in the Discord. He's primarily an iRacer who has joined the rookie season. I actually ran a fun 12 hours of Bathurst with Sid. Very, very, very good, capable driver. Should be interesting to see if he can work his way up from 11th place.
Sharp starting off in 12th. R. Nixon close behind in 13th. 14th, Harrigan. 15th, Benavides, if I'm pronouncing that right. I hope so. 16th,
yeah.
Dinosaur. Vergara, 17th. Thompson in 18th. Getman, 19th. Cherry in 20th. S. Stevens in 21st. And T. Hatcher rounding out the field in 22nd.
Yes, you'll see that Stevens in 21st is also sporting the grid filler livery, the red, yellow, and white. And yeah, should be a fun race. Gonna go through. All the drivers are getting a nice driver's briefing, going over the rules. And just for the broadcast, it's going to be a 40-minute race. No mandatory pit stops or tire changes like our Wednesday night races. There's no full cautions, but there will be cautions in sectors. So if a yellow flag is raised, drivers are supposed to slow down and not pass. If they do end up passing, they should give the position back, and if not, it will be looked at by the stewards.
If you end up causing contact, and I believe if you cause contact and you don't give the position back, if they end up like spinning or getting off track, that's also something that the stewards will look at and potentially penalize.
Yeah, for sure. It's really depends on the situation. If you like knock them off track and they're still going, it's pretty much mandatory that you give the position back. But if they go crashing into a wall and can't get it going again, or have to get towed back, or it's going to take too long for them to catch back up to you, you are permitted to continue racing. But if a incident report is filed, that will be looked at, and pretty much will be looked at automatically by the stewards. And you will get, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you first.
I was gonna say I'm not 100% sure on the penalty, but yeah, if they're off track completely and it takes too long, it's best to just continue, as to not create more incidents.
Something to note with the penalties as well. There is a penalty with the pit lane exit. If you exit if you're exiting the pits, in the event that you do need to go to the pits, and you cross the pit exit line, you will get a drive-through penalty.
Right, and that goes for going into the pits as well. Again, it's a 40-minute race, no required pit stops, but yes, if you do need to go into the pits to repair some damage, you do need to be mindful of those lines. We run a full formation lap here on ACC using their system where it keeps you within a certain distance. It is not like iRacing, so if you crash during the formation lap, you can't really crash. You'll teleport through. Drivers are gonna hope to stay with the bar on their screens and get started when they come to the line.
Do you think the drivers will, during this formation lap, because the brakes are going to be cold, do you think they're going to drag the brakes a little bit, at least through the straights of Misano, to warm up those brakes and those tires?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best way in ACC to warm up your tires, especially in these M2s and some other cars. They don't have tire warmers, so their tires are very cold. They are blue icons on their screen, indicating that their pressures are extremely low and cold. So yeah, you're gonna see drivers kind of riding their brakes, heating up their brakes so that they can heat up their tires. I know that is something that I would do, especially with these cars that do not have tire warmers.
If I remember correctly, I don't think any of the cars in ACC have tire warmers, so pretty much every car you race, you wanna warm up those tires before the start of the race to really get the grip set up for that first lap and potentially get an advantage on those that didn't warm up their tires.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Especially in the start, it's gonna get a little dicey. You're gonna want as much grip as you can in those tires, so heating them up will be key to try to secure some early positions.
Current forecast for Misano tonight is going to stay in the cloudy. Track condition is optimum right now, so the maximum amount of grip that will be on the track is currently present for these drivers, with your current temperature looking at 21 degrees Celsius, both for your ambient air temperature and the track temperature. So drivers make sure that their tire pressures are set up to compensate for the temperatures. And looks like we're almost ready with about 3 more minutes to go with their drivers briefing and their pre-race conversations before we finally get off to our pace lap.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this. Now that I'm not qualified to be in this series anymore, but this series is fun. It's a lot of fun, a lot of close racing with these BMWs. There was a lot of good battles, a lot of different race winners. It keeps it interesting. And for those of you who are watching, if you're not a part of ARL, please see the link in the description for the Discord. The SimGrid link should be there as well. There is room left in this rookie series, so if you want to sign up, check out the Discord and the SimGrid page. You can sign up. There are 2 drop races in this season, so that means you can withdraw from 2 races. So if you join the second race, you are not behind the 8 ball. You can still get your full points for the season. So feel free to come and join the Tuesday Night Rookies.
And of course, tonight, not a points race, so you still have plenty of time to join in.
Yeah.
If you want to join in for the first race.
Yes, you're right. My mistake. We are in the preseason.
It doesn't help that that the first round, I believe, is at Misano as well. So it's easy to think tonight is the points race, but no, we're still about 2 weeks away from that.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like the round one is actually at Monza.
Ooh, that'll be an interesting start to the season.
Yes, yes. Looks like some new tracks for this season as compared to last. Last season we did start in Misano, I believe, but that is our preseason race. And we have Bathurst towards the end of the season, which is always an exciting, fun race on the mountain. Brands Hatch looks like it's new for this season. Suzuka. We got, looks like a full slate of new racetracks for the rookies this season. So
30 seconds.
See how the newcomers are on some of these tracks and how some of the returning drivers look on these new tracks for this season.
I am going to let you in on a secret. I call, as I forgot to turn off notifications. That's always fun. As I like to jokingly call Bathurst Death Mountain.
Yeah, very much could be Death Mountain. That is for sure. It's a fun track. It's one of my personal favorites, but it definitely takes some getting used to. Battling up the hill with some tight turns, and you want to be full speed, and the walls are right there. The car weight shifted the wrong way. You hit a bump. There's the infamous little sewer drain that can throw you off going up the hill through the park and then going down the mountain. If there's an incident down the mountain, it is going to be tough to avoid because it is tight, twisty roads going down the mountain.
And one thing I'm noticing right now, actually, is that I believe it's an ACC thing. The drivers, they started off in a double file grid, but they are currently single file for this pace lap. Near the end of the lap, they'll get back into double file formation, and you'll see them start to slow down and kind of check up before that start finish line, and really get the pace. They'll get up to, I believe, 70 kilometers.
Yes, I think 70 kilometers per hour will be where they need to keep their pace towards the end of this formation lap. That is manual, so if they do speed, they will incur a drive-through penalty for speeding at the start. But you want to be as close to that 70 as possible so that you can get a good start here on this rolling start procedure.
Drivers rounding the hairpin. Looks like there's a little bit of weaving, maybe getting some marbles off the tires. So I don't imagine there being a lot of marbles right now.
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes it just feels nice. It's like it's doing something, getting the marbles off, but I don't think it's really required here. I think the key here is, like we were talking about before, making sure your brakes and tires are gaining some temperature so they can get as much grip as possible to start.
The weaving could also be them kind of, you know, shaking off the little bit of rust from the cooldown that 10 minutes can give you.
Yeah, definitely.
Getting all loose and ready as we're starting to see them get back into that double file. As we're about 2 turns away from the start-finish line and the beginning of this 40-minute race. Currently 10:12 p.m. at Misano. In-game, of course.
Looks like we're coming to the start.
Green light, give it all you can.
And the green flag is dropped, and we are underway.
Looks like Green got a great start, jumping up into first. Perot battling his way to second.
We've got a car out wide, further back. Looks like they managed to rejoin safely, though, so all good. All green right now still through this first sector.
Yeah. Very clean. Nothing, no big major incidents here in lap 1. It is a short sprint of 40 minutes, but you're going to want to make sure your car is clean through the first lap and then gain some space and start working.
Our pole sitter Peppers going to have fallen back to third, currently being stuck in a fight to keep that position though. Perot jumping up to second, and Green, of course, getting that really good start off of the green light to inherit that lead at the very start of this race.
Yeah, he was on it. He jumped, got a perfect start. There's some other people moving up. I know Cecil was going up a position. So right now we got Cecil in 4th, Stencil in 5th, and Chorizo in 6th.
Meanwhile, all of this behind and in the rearview mirror of Green, who is happily trying to check away, getting a little bit of a gap forming between themselves and Perot, currently 8/10 behind them.
Yeah, you want to try to build that lead. Oh, and looks like Cecil went off, but he is back on. Trying to get back at Peppers. Running the 155, so got full fuel loads. Being a little cautious, lots of cars around.
Peppers currently with the fastest lap on in the field with a 153.3. Of course, that could and will change as the tires get warmer and as the fuel load gets lighter on these cars. You'll see these times go further down, but starting off with a 153 on lap 1, not a bad start for Green.
Oh, very, very good start. Only a few seconds off of the qualifying times. He's going to want to keep it up. Keep building that lead. Maybe get fortunate with people battling behind him, which will help him increase that lead. These cars, when they're battling, it's kind of a catch-22. You want to gain that position and move up a spot in the grid, but you got to be careful and not slow yourself down too much. So you want to find that pass at the right time to keep that momentum going, so you don't slow yourself too much.
Currently sticking with Green right now, looking to hit the 149s currently with their pace, as long as they're able to keep her clean and keep her on the racing surface. And this is only the second lap that Green is pulling this 149. So to look further back into the field. Vergara in 16th, currently trying to hold off Getman, who's only about a half a second behind them. As Getman looks on the outside, kind of peeks, gets back behind the 21. 21 goes a little wide there, but manages to keep it on track. Getman definitely wanting to look as soon as they can.
Yep, and I'm back. Sorry, a little technical issue. But it looks like Warm Water is battling with Turkey, trying to continue to move up and gain positions from starting, I believe, in 11th. But I believe he definitely has the pace. Showed it in practice. We'll see if he can get it going here in the race with 34 minutes left.
We have a car that was out in the gravel. Can't see who it was exactly. But they managed to rejoin safely. Right now, Harrigan holding off Dinosaur. Dinosaur only 3/10 of a second behind them. Battle for 13th heating up. As that's another car that goes wide. Let me see if I can get to them in time. Don't think I can.
Oh, there's one going wide.
Looks like Pepper's in third, trying to reel in Perot, but Perot's starting to pull away, kind of getting a good run out of that technical sector there.
Yeah, and it looks like there's still a battle going in for 7th, 8th, and 9th, all within a second, about a second of each other, with Turkey in 7th, Warmwater in 8th, and Dingham in 9th. So we're starting to form a few little packs, separating from each other, 3-4 cars close by, with some gaps between each of those groups. We have Green with a 148.9, the first 148 I've seen tonight, and that's with his fuel being at about 3/4 full. That's impressive from Green. See if he can continue building his lead up to a little over 2 seconds currently.
The gap only about a second ago was maybe 1.5, so Green definitely pushing the pace.
Yeah, and follows up his 48.9 with a 49.3. So keeping it there with everyone else, Perot, Peppers, Cecil, Stencil, all coming in the 49s or very low 50s. So we'll see if that group can kind of work together. I think would probably be best for them. Really not try to pass and battle and slow yourself down if you want to get back to this leader. Green doing a great job.
Currently a good fight for 16th right now. Nixon holding off Getman. Getman only about a little less than a second behind. Or was at the start. But Nixon also gaining on Sharp. The 22 getting a little bit wide and looks to try to peek on the inside, now the outside.
Oh, and he goes wide, can get it back completely, and he rejoins safely.
And might I add, still only about half a second behind the 15th place car of Sharp.
Yep, well, I will wonder, and I know it probably would for me, but get a warning for exceeding track limits and continuing and gaining time. So in ACC you're allowed 3 warnings where you go off track and still gain time before you are given a penalty. So you wanna be careful. You can push, you get 3 warnings, but you wanna try to keep it on track as much as possible. Nixon is now down to like 3/10, 1/10. He's right on his bumper.
Got a nose poked in, going to be peeking on the inside. Still going to be side by side through the turn.
And then it looks like Sharp will end up on the inside here, so he might be able to secure it.
Of course, this battling letting Getman get involved as well. Now a 3-car pack for 15th.
Yep, and we got 4 cars in front of them. Looks like they're really battling for position 2. So these two groups kind of forming back up together. Should lead to some nice, interesting racing, a little pushing. With 30 minutes left, still have time, but these drivers in 18th through about 12th really want to start gaining those track positions, try to secure top 10.
Of course, this being a 40-minute race, like a 40-minute sprint, do you think seeing the 10-minute mark would be, oh, I got to start pushing now, or do you want to kind of wait a little bit longer, maybe wait till about the 20-minute mark, or I'd even say the 15-minute mark before you really start making a move? And as I say that, Nixon going to be taking that position from Sharp, the 17 of Getman getting really wide and off track there. Nixon going to inherit that 15th place position, though, and pulling away now with a 1 second gap ahead of Sharp.
Yeah, secured that, and as the car goes wide, is Getman number 17?
Cherry's the one that went wide there,
Oh,
it looks like.
Right.
Gitman went wide earlier. Cherry's the one that went. It was the last car in the gravel trap there.
Gotcha. Yeah, going back to your previous question, with these short races, you really want to push. I mean, for me, it was push as much as I can to keep some of the other fast drivers behind me or gain on certain tracks. It's a short race, so you want to push, but you got to pick your spots in going for the pass, so you don't go very slow. Keep your momentum going.
I think you don't want to push too hard either because of the life of the tires. Yeah, these tires can last a long time, but if you push them too hard, even in a 40-minute sprint, they will start to wear out near the end, and you'll get those drivers that save their tires gaining more and more lap time on you.
Yeah, that's true. In our other season where we have mandatory pits, we're really only driving on those tires for about 30 minutes, so definitely want to keep your tires in good shape. Avoid sliding too much, so you have that grip at the end of the race.
Battle up front has been heating up slowly. Perot now only about 5/10 of a second faster than Peppers right now. Peppers looking to reel in that second place car and currently doing a good job of doing so.
Yeah, he's working his way up, trying to fight for that position.
Meanwhile, one driver who is just taking it really easy right now, Green, although Peppers with the faster lap time than both first and second place that previous lap.
Yeah. Green in the lead about 2.5 seconds, but with racing and with these cars specifically, off-track excursion and a small mistake, maybe you get a little too comfortable, could make that gap drop rapidly. So he wants to make sure that he's keeping a solid race pace to keep that lead in front of Perot and Peppers.
And it looks like there's some contact back here. Cherry and Hatcher extremely slow, stopped on the track for a minute. They are both back going at race speed a little slower, but looks like we just missed a little bit of contact there between the 69 and the 78 cars.
Yep. See there, yep, trying to work their way back, catch up with the pack.
Also, surprisingly, when we went back to that battle for a second, Getman got around Nixon and is currently sitting in a very nice 14th position.
Oh yeah. Yep, so he got past Nixon and Sharp, with this pack still kind of clumped together. Battling to gain positions.
Looks like Gitman has had a few invalid laps. Their last lap of 154, but their best lap still on record being a 203. Of course, those invalid laps really only hurt you during qualifying.
Yep, that is very true. I'm notorious for having a very big difference between valid and invalid laps in races. As long as you're not gaining time when you're going off track, you will not be getting a warning, but you want to make sure you're on track as much as possible to stay on that racing line, keep working your way up.
Renown in the pits. I'm not quite sure what happened with Renown, but Renown currently sitting in the pits at 22nd place. We've got Harrigan close behind Robotham.
Yeah, Sid Robotham. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce his name. I got it. But yeah, he's Harrigan pushing in 13th place, about a second behind Sid, and Sid about a second behind Dinosaur,
who sits a second behind the 960 car.
Yep. So we got a nice little group of 4 here.
I think that's our group of 4 that was in front of the Gitman, Nixon, and Sharp.
Yep. So, yeah. So maybe Getman and Nixon and Sharp battling for position has allowed them to pull away a little bit. I'm looking up ahead at Chorizo, who is in the 343, kind of on an island, about 3 seconds behind Stencil and 3 seconds in front of Warmwater, who's been battling up his way up the grid, who is now in 7th place.
The fight between Perot and Peppers still heating up. Peppers starting to slowly gain, now less than a second behind.
Yeah, Green can continue to hold that 2.5 second lead thereabout as these two try to catch him.
Now, at what point do you, if you were Peppers, would you say, okay, maybe battling for second, not worth it right now, with Green being a little over 2 seconds ahead? Maybe I should work with Perot to gain back up with Green and make this a potential fight for the lead instead, or do you try to get around Perot first and then try to reel in the leader?
You know, I think just watching the race and from experience in these cars, it takes a lot. Like he was within a second, now falling a little bit behind, going off track. It takes a while to get a good run on some of these drivers in this car. So I would try to work with him if he eventually wants to get that first place.
Looks like Green was off track for a little bit. Vergara in the pits right now.
Yeah, Peppers with the slower 150.8 that last lap. So dropping it back just slightly. Perot gaining on Green, only about a second and a half now. And that 78 of, I believe, Cherry is off track again.
Stevens right now 17th place, only about 2 seconds behind Sharp. Seems like the field is starting to level out a little bit. The packs are starting to get a little more spread out between each other.
Looks like we have a number of cars a lap down, but yeah, we have these packs moving together, but separated.
Right now, battle for 14th seems to be the closest battle currently, with that one being, well, it was under a second gap. Nixon
yeah, now at about 1.5.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
And race control with our halfway mark being announced. There is a yellow flag somewhere.
Looks like there might be a car off track. I know I saw Cherry kind of parked on the side, so that might be causing the yellow flag.
Cherry is going at race pace, although their car looks a little damaged. That front end kind of looks, that hood looks a little elevated. I don't know if that was from earlier contact or if something more recent happened, but that 78 BMW definitely damaged and going to be off the pace.
Yeah. And it could be, oh no, then the yellow flag was away. I was about to say it could be ACC sometimes. If a car is in the pits, we'll show a yellow flag as you drive by. Kind of a little glitch here on the PlayStation 5.
And the 17 with a stop and go 32nd. So Getman, I don't think Getman was in the pits, but
yeah, stop and go 30.
Did something to make the virtual stewards mad.
Yeah, it looks like he's a lap down, so maybe he had some damage and maybe speeding going into the pits, trying to repair that as quickly as possible. Or it could have been getting too many warnings, but most likely probably had an incident and was speeding into the pits. I'm on board with Turkey, who's trying to make it catch up to warm water. Solidly in 8th place.
Yellow flag is going to be for Getman, who is sitting off the track right now. Perot reeled in. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, just with the yellow flag, they're still allowed to race, just when you get to that sector or passing the incident, not supposed to pass, so not a full caution here, but everyone's still pushing.
Race control lifting that yellow flag in that sector back to a full green flag track. As Perot now trying to really catch on to green, getting to about a second, a little less than a second behind.
Yeah, it looks like he's pulled away from Peppers a little bit and really gaining on green with about 17 to go.
I'm thinking Perot may have saved their tires a little better than green may have.
Yep, stayed on track. He's running some solid laps, not making too many mistakes.
Of course, with the lap cars, it could also be just being able to navigate the lap traffic better than green.
Right, exactly, yeah. Makes it interesting with cars lap down, lap traffic. They don't necessarily have to give away the spot, but the lap traffic is not to defend their position as they're not racing with the leaders passing them.
Perot gaining a little bit, but the lap time going to be a loss. Couple tenths slower than green, but Perot not giving up.
No, definitely not. 15 minutes left. A mistake or two, or getting caught in traffic and lead him right back to the green's bumper.
Hatcher went wide, but decided to stay off the track to allow the leaders to get by easier.
Yeah, for sure. Peppers really wants to get by as fast as he can so he can regain this battle here in the podium positions. So Peppers gets by Hatcher.
Perot really gaining there at the hairpin now. Was about a second and a half, now less than a second behind green. We'll see if Perot's able to keep that gap shrinking, or if maybe Perot's better in the hairpin, but green getting the better run through the rest of sector 3.
Yeah, it always seems to be like that for me, where I can gain in certain sections and lose in others. So you really want to watch what the other driver is doing, maybe follow their line, or see a spot where you can maybe use
Perot right there in the rear view, so able to apply some pressure. Maybe try to occupy more of that rear view mirror and make Green potentially create a self-mistake.
Yeah, just want to show yourself, maybe have the driver drive too much in the mirrors, kind of lose their focus for a second. Try to gain some time. Looks like right now we have about 9 or 10 drivers on the lead lap. Oh, they're just rounding it out.
I'm noticing something from Green, and I don't know if you've noticed any of the other drivers doing it, but it looks like Green doing a really good job of using all of the track and not afraid to get onto the curb.
Yeah, the track limits here are definitely lenient enough where you want to be as much on those curves as possible to keep that momentum going. Try to make these turns as much of a straight line as possible. So I'm on board with my fellow teammate Stevens, who's trying to catch up to Nixon as he makes a mistake and goes a little bit wide. See if Stevens can move up into 14th place.
Sharp in the gravel at the moment, going to rejoin safely. And it looks like the field mostly calming down now, within a second or more in the gaps as we get closer and closer to that 10-minute mark in the race.
Yeah, Shane, looks like Shane and Nixon are the closest right now, about a half second. Shane was able to pass him maybe very briefly and momentarily, but Nixon was able to regain that 14th position. It's one of our closest battles here currently.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was able to get to Stevens right as you mentioned that battle. Of course, the camera control's a little finicky.
Yeah.
Still working on that.
Yeah. It's a preseason for us as well. Work out the kinks using the PlayStation spectator controls.
It's my first season with ARL, so I'm still having to figure out my own commentary style.
Yeah, definitely the first time I've ever done anything like this, so it should be fun.
Nixon currently gaining on the 13th place car at the moment. Stevens dropping back to, it looks like a little more than a second behind Nixon, but Nixon gaining on the 960 car.
Perot, looking back at our leaders, Perot is about 1.4 seconds back from Green. Still trying to keep that pressure up. Some traffic in between him and Peppers, who is in 3rd place, about 5 seconds back.
At the moment, Nixon really filling up that rear view mirror for lower. I think I pronounced that right. And Cherry off the track again, going to reset to the pits. Just noticed that as they were rounding out in that little hairpin before the last corner.
Yeah, it looks like he towed back to the pits. Tough first race for Cherry, you know, but we have 2 drop, and this is preseason anyway, so good to get the kinks out, figure out this car. It's definitely not a car that is used too often, but it's a fun car car nonetheless, but it takes some getting used to. That doesn't have the aero and braking ability, acceleration ability of those GT3s that are super popular.
Nixon looking on the inside of Lower right now. Had to back out, but was really close to overtaking the 960 car. Nixon going to stay as close as they can now. They were within 0.3 of a second.
This little battle might allow Shane to come back. Have a third player join the little battle. As Perot continuing to put pressure on Green, getting it down to about half a second now, Green pulling away, but still within a second for first place with 8 minutes to go here at our preseason race for Tuesday Night Rookies.
Yellow flag for a brief second. I'm not sure if that was someone getting into the pits or not, but there's a white flag out. Someone a little slower. Maybe there was someone off track that that rejoined ahead of our little battle here for 13th. And it's now starting to look like a battle for 12th as they gain on Dinosaur right now.
Yep. There's two sets of 2 cars joining.
Oh, it looks like that was the 12 of Nixon got into the side of Lower, it looked like, and ended up wide. Stevens going to inherit that 14th place.
Oh yeah, quite a bit of a dive bomb there, just watching it now.
Oh, and Stevens getting into Lower. That's some contact. Looks like Stevens maybe just misjudged the braking zone, which allows Nixon to get back into this fight for 13th.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. That's a tricky spot on the track. You got a long sweeping turn there where you got a lot of speed, and you really got to get these cars that don't have as good brakes slowed down in time.
And it looks like Stevens ended up going wide as well again, so maybe a little bit of aero damage.
Yeah, these cars can take a beating, but definitely with that hard of a hit could affect your aero.
Good sportsmanship though from Stevens to let Lower get back going again before rejoining the track themselves to get back into the race. Stevens going wide again through the gravel. I'm fairly certain after that hit, their car doesn't have the same grip as it used to. Nixon looking on the inside though in the final corner. Lower going to get and stay just ahead though.
Yeah, Nixon wants that position back. It's, you know, you get bumped, and as he pushes for it, you get bumped. You want to get that spot back, try to gain back up to Dinosaur and Harrigan, kind of pulled away from this group.
Side by side right now. Nixon looks to inherit the position. They get a little bit of a touch. Nixon managing to save it. Lower going wide though. Nixon going to take that position. A little bump back. And Nixon and Lower off track. Nixon going to be the loser of that interaction though. And slammed into that inside Armco barrier pretty hard.
Oh yeah. Just seeing it now, yeah.
Nixon being towed to the pits.
That's unfortunate. Pushing. You want to get that spot back, but ending up in the wall. As Stevens was able to work his way to 14th as those two were battling.
Battle for first, heating up again. Now within half a second.
minutes to go. With some traffic up ahead, we'll see how Green is able to navigate those 3 close cars that are not on the lead lap. See if he can make it through there as cleanly as possible as Perot continues to push and try to secure that position before. Oh, and there's looks like some cars in their way.
Lauren Sharp, it looked like. Laura getting involved in a lot more incidents now near the end of this race.
Yeah, the leaders just doing a great job avoiding the incident on track, pushing through as they try to get past Thompson, who's in 14th place.
I would like to note Perot 0.2 of a second faster than our leader during that last lap, but you got to think time's running out. You've got like 2, maybe 3 more laps before the end of this thing. But if you're Perot, now is the time to push.
Yeah, now is the time to push. Now is the time to try to gain in on him. But if a little mistake, you're sliding a little too much to make that gap larger. But he's got to go all out here, try to secure this victory over Green, who's been leading since the start pretty comfortably, now battling with 2 minutes left.
And it looks like the 78 speeding down pit lane has I think that's a drive-through. It's either a drive-through or a stop and go.
Yeah, it could be either depending on the severity of the speed. Looks like a drive-through, yeah, drive-through.
And Perot right next to Green almost now.
Yeah, Green going a little bit wide. I do have to say, trying to pass Green last season was tricky. I could stay close to him, but he does a really good job defending, kind of parking it a little bit on the apexes, securing that position, not letting you pass. So it's going to be
Right, man. Leader is on the
going to
final
take
lap.
some
Give
work
it
for
all you
Perot to
can.
get by him here.
And race control saying this will be the last lap. Not enough time on the race clock for another lap after this. As I don't know if they'll be able to catch Stevens in time for that to be a factor in this fight. Perot's starting to pull away, or sorry, Green's starting to pull away from Perot a little bit.
Looks like Stevens is going to stay on the lead lap in 13th position. Perot's still trying to do whatever he can to get back on the bumper of Green to try to make a move here.
Perot getting a better exit, it looks like, through that hairpin. And the 78 car still has not served their drive-through penalty yet.
Yeah, it will most likely just be a time added at the end on their laptop, on their times, but
Perot getting a peek on the inside, going to stay on the bumper, going to try. No, can't peek just enough yet. In the penultimate corner.
yeah.
To approach the final corner, not going to be able to get by Green. Green going to take it.
Yep, and Green holds it
Leader
from
has finished the
start to
race.
finish. Great solid race in the 49s, 48s for Green, keeping Perot at bay. Perot fighting, doing the best he can. Valiant effort, good battle. With Peppers rounding out the podium positions in 3rd place.
Cecil going to be in 4th place. And these camera angles, they are not a fan of me.
Yeah, very tricky.
But Green, you're a race winner.
Yeah, the only returning race winner from last season gets the first win of this season. This being a preseason race, but always good to win a race and feel comfortable in this car.
I'm gonna take a peek through the results real quick. Green, of course, with your leader and race winner, with the fastest lap as well. Perot finishing 0.3 of a second behind. Very close to getting that run. Just ran out of time. Pepper's gonna round out your podium. Cecil in 4th and Stenzel in 5th.
Yeah, Warm Water doing a great job battling up from 11th, I believe, at the start to end up in 6th place. Turkey kind of holding his position with a solid top 10 at 7th place. Dingham in 8th, Chorizo 9th, and Sid in 10th place.
Harrigan gonna be in 11th. Dinosaur with a solid performance tonight, finishing near the mid of the pack in 12th. Stevens in 13th. Thompson going to be the first of the lap down cars in 14th. Sharp 15th. Hatcher 16th. Lord 17th. Vergara in 18th. 19th will be Nixon. Cherry with an extra 30 seconds for not serving that drive-through for speeding in 20th.
Yep, I think Renown was not running the race, so tough one for Nixon. Nixon was battling. We had that pack really fighting for position. He was sticking his nose in, getting passes. Tough one to end up in the barrier and stuck in the pits at the end.
Of course,
great racing all around.
This being preseason, so if you're gonna wreck, you know, at least
Right.
you got it out of the way before the points started to before there were any points on the line. But you're able to see really what the car's limits are and able to prepare for the season starting in mid-September. Get a little more practice time on the tracks.
Yes, with round 1 being at Monza on September 17th, with all the rookie races being held at Tuesday nights. Race start time around 9:20 or 9:50, with qualifying around 9:30. So we got Monza next, followed by Zolder and Spa. So looking forward to seeing how this season shakes out. If Green can continue the pace, that should be an exciting rookie season.
I'm excited. I'm extremely excited. I'm ready to see what these rookies are, how these rookies are able to push these M2s to the limit. But I think
lots of tight battling with these cars. We saw it tonight, so hopefully that continues throughout the season.
But I think that'll do it for us here up in the booth for ARL. I'm Kaito Nasso once again.
And I'm Kevin Kreis. Thanks for joining us.
And we will see y'all in the middle of September for our official season start at Monza.
Yep, see you there.